Years ago, while visiting my grandparents in New England, we toured Old Sturbridge Village in Massachusetts. My grandmother wanted to buy some Joe Frogger cookies. They turned out to be a delicious molasses cookie. To make molasses cookies, you will need 2 cups of flour, 1½ teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of ground ginger, 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, cloves, and salt, 3/4 cup of softened butter, 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar, 1/4 cup of white sugar, 1/4 cup of dark molasses, 1 large egg, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and 1/3 cup of sugar for rolling the cookies before baking. To get started, add all your dry ingredients to your flour, your baking soda, your ginger, your cinnamon, your nutmeg, cloves, and salt, and using a wire whisk, just blend them together, and then we'll put this aside. Next, using a large bowl, you're going to add your softened butter, and you'll know your butter is the right temperature when you can see a fingerprint. So your softened butter, your brown sugar, your white sugar, and then beat with the mixer until it's smooth. Once your butter and sugar is well mixed together, scrape down the sides. Now add your 1/4 cup of molasses, your egg, and your 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And again, using the mixer, mix well. Now it's time to add the dry ingredients, probably in about 2 to 3 batches on low, using your mixer. Once your dough is thoroughly mixed, using a spatula, just scrape down the sides. This will be a very sticky dough. And the next step is we're going to cover it with foil or plastic wrap, and it needs to be refrigerated for at least an hour before we bake it. Your first step is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees and line your baking sheets with parchment paper. Our dough has been in the refrigerator for about 1 hour, so using a scoop, I'm scooping it out, rolling it in granulated sugar. These cookies will spread, so they do need to be spaced on your baking sheet. Now into our 350-degree oven for 11 to 12 minutes. If your cookies are not crackly on the top, take them out of the oven. These have been in for about 10 minutes, and give them a full bang with the stove top or counter. Then return them to the oven for an additional 1 minute of baking. These cookies need to cool completely before serving. This recipe makes about 3 dozen molasses cookies. The Joe Frogger molasses cookie is a unique African American food and a delicious contribution to the social history of food. The cookie, like so many other New England foods, such as Boston baked beans or Boston brown bread, flavored with molasses rather than expensive sugar, exemplifies the frugal and stoic character of the Yankees. My grandmother loved this cookie.